Somebody paid $40 for this animal. Not $40 for a box of them. $40 for the one you're looking at. It's the size of a grain of rice. You already know what this is. It's a roly-poly. A woodlouse. The thing you flipped rocks over to find when you were 7. And there's a version of this animal people breed in a garage corner. No yard, no greenhouse, no light cycle, no noise, room temperature, a plastic tub, dead leaves. I'll be straight before we start because this one has a catch most videos would hide. Published lab data says the main isopod here doesn't breed until it's 7 months old. 7. That's from a peer-reviewed study, not a seller, and I'll cite it properly. So 5 income streams, every real price, the 7-month problem, and how you get paid through it, and 2 legal checks nobody in this hobby mentions. Every number here is revenue, every figure is sourced, and you can check all of it yourself. 2 animals, and they are not 2 businesses. The Springtail. 2 millimeters, white, eats mold and fine organic waste. The Isopod. Bigger, slower, eats leaf litter, and shed reptile skin. Together, they're a bioactive cleanup crew. That's not my framing, it's how the market already buys them. 1 customer, 1 order, 2 products. But the real reason they belong together is cash. Springtail split every 3 to 4 weeks. Isopods produce nothing for 7 months. So for the first half of year 1, Springtails are the only thing paying you while the isopods grow up. The fast animal funds the wait for the slow one. If you take one thing from this video, take that. And a garage already has what both want. Dark, stable, around 70 degrees, nothing your neighbors can see or hear, and you can still park the car. Which is worth pausing on because most home animal income assumes a yard. Chickens need outdoor access, quail need airflow, and light cycles a sealed garage struggles to give them. Rabbits need space. Every one of those runs into a neighbor, a fence line, or a planting rule. These 2 need dark, damp, and dead leaves. That's the entire environmental requirement, and it's the reason this fits in a building you already own. The species is Fulsomia candida. It's the hobby standard and the laboratory standard, which means the biology is genuinely documented rather than passed around forums. And it has one property nothing else on this channel has. It's parthenogenetic. Females reproduce without males. That sounds like trivia. It isn't. You never sex them, never set up breeding groups, never lose a culture because you scoop the wrong animals. Take some springtails. Put them in fresh media. That's a new culture, every time. A female lays up to 400 eggs. Eggs hatch in about 10 days. Hatchlings mature through 3 molts over roughly another 10 days. That's a 20-day generation running continuously. Put that next to the isopods, and the contrast is the whole business model. One animal doubles roughly monthly from a single individual. The other takes 7 months before it produces anything at all. Same shelf, same garage, completely different clocks, and you need the fast one running before the slow one starts costing you. One thing that will kill your production, springtails suppress their own reproduction when crowded. A culture fills up and then just stops. So the whole job is splitting on schedule, and the harvest queue is visual. You wait until you can see them stacking around the edges. A 6-ounce deli cup. Suppliers sell these in 25, 50, 100, and 500 counts. First hidden cost. Every supplier I checked lists cups with lids sold separately and vented insect lids separately again. 3 line items where you budgeted for 1. Media, calcium-bearing clay. About $20 for 9 ounces makes a lot of cups. Clay beats charcoal for selling because the customer lifts the whole puck out and rinses it into their tank. Food, $12 a bag, lasts months. Founding stock runs $10 to $30 a culture. Buy 4, not 1. 4, because 1 culture is a single point of failure. Cultures crash. 4 splitting every 3.5 weeks becomes 8, 16, 32. You're at 30 plus mother cultures inside 4 months from a $64 start. The build takes 4 minutes. Clay to a paste, a centimeter deep. Let it set. A pinch of food, not a layer, because uneaten food grows mold and mold kills cultures. Tip in springtails, lid, label with the date. The date, not the species, because in 3 weeks, every cup looks identical and your whole schedule is knowing what's due. And when you split, move the animals, not the old media. Transferring used substrate is how mites travel from a tired culture into a fresh one. Pet Supermarket sells a culture at $13.99. Josh's Frogs, $9.99 for 8 ounces and $14.99 for 32. Underground Reptiles, $29.99. On eBay, 1,000 plus on clay runs $25 to $39. I'll model $16 low in that band because you compete on price when nobody knows your name. And there's a premium tier inside Springtails. Color morphs, lilac, yellow, silver, zebra. $25 to $28 per 100, $125 per 1,000. 5 times plain stock for an animal that's no harder to keep. They breed slower. That's the trade. First buyer, independent reptile shops, not chains. Chains buy through distributors, and you won't get in that door. Here's the approach. Walk in with 2 finished cultures in your hand. Ask what they pay their distributor, offer to beat it, and offer a live arrival guarantee. That guarantee closes it because their current supply arrives by post and sometimes arrives dead. You're local. Yours doesn't. Beyond shops, herpetological society meetings, expos like Repticon and NRBC, and the dart frog and tarantula communities on dendroboard and arachnoboards. Dart frog keepers buy springtails as feeders, not just cleanup. 35 cultures at $16, $560 a month. Revenue. Cups, clay, food, and your time come out of it. 2 out of 10 on difficulty, and the only reason it isn't 1 is the splitting schedule. Miss that for a month, and you don't lose a culture. You lose the compounding, which is worse. Everything else about this animal forgives you. Dairy cow is Porcellio laevis. Large, fast, and that black and white pattern is a recessive mutation breeders selected for. The wild animal is gray. Powder orange is Porcellionid's pruinosus. Smaller, quick, establishes fast. Now the 7 months. Females first reproduced at 7 months. 7.7 weeks between broods. 3.1 broods per female across her life. 66.6 babies per brood. And 44.7% of those survive to 7 or 8 months. Roughly half of everything born doesn't reach sellable size. That's not bad husbandry, that's the baseline in a laboratory. Sit with what that means for the first 7 months. The bins eat, they need misting, they need substrate, and they sell you nothing at all. They are a cost center with legs, and that's exactly why the springtails are in this video. And I have to be honest about a disagreement, because you'll find both. Hobbyist suppliers put maturity at 4 to 7 months with broods of 50 to 100, and keepers report 10 animals becoming 50 in 2 months. Those reports are real. Warmer bins, better protein, and selected captive stock all push the number down. I'm building on 7 anyway. Plan for 7, be pleased with 5. Because the people who fail here aren't the pessimists. They're the ones who budgeted 4 months of no income and quit in month 5. A 6-quart shoebox tote, 14 by 8 by 5 inches. Dollar store, about $1. Except it isn't a $1 bin. That lid needs 30 to 40 ventilation holes, pencil diameter. You need the drill, the bit, and 20 minutes. Because a pre-vented 6-quart enclosure sells for $18 to $29. Same box. The difference is 20 minutes. At 3 bins, buy vented and save your evening. At 20 bins, that's $400 of drilling you should do yourself. Substrate. 60% organic topsoil, no fertilizer or pesticide, 30% cocoa coir, 10% orchid bark. 2 to 3 inches deep, 3 to 5 for cubaris. Second avoidable cost. A 10-pound coir brick is $12 and makes many bins. Premium pre-mixed substrate is $20 to $24 for 4 quarts. Same job. At production scale, pre-mix is the most expensive habit in this hobby. Leaf litter. On top, 1 to 2 inches. A gallon runs $12 to $15. You can collect leaves free. But suppliers heat treat theirs above 110 degrees. And if you skip that, you're importing mites into your own bins. Hold 68 to 76 degrees. Below 65, they stop feeding, and a colony that isn't eating isn't breeding. Isopods sell by the animal. which makes this the most checkable arithmetic in the video. At retail, Josh's Frogs sells Powder Orange, Dairy Cow, Giant Canyon, and Powder Blue at $14.99 for 10, $1.50 an animal. The Defiant Forest publishes the full ladder, 30 for $19.50, 65 cents each, 100 for $50, 50 cents each, 500 for 200, 40 cents each, $1.50 down to 40 cents, depending entirely on whether you're selling to a keeper or a shop. I'm modeling 55 cents blended because bulk is what actually clears a bin. A 6-quart tub holds 10 to 20 starters. Past 100, you want 12 to 16 quarts. A 32-quart tub comfortably holds 200 plus adults. Buyers, independent shops buying in bulk and reselling in tens. Expos, where you sell at retail to people who came to spend. Herb societies, bioactive builders, and the Isopod trading groups on Facebook, which are a real market and not a small one. 2,200 animals at 55 cents, $1,210. And what's limiting that isn't the bins. Your colonies can outproduce it. It's how many people within driving distance want cleanup crews this month, and there's a legal reason driving distance is the operative phrase. Easiest money in the video. No new animals, no new bins, no new customers. You have springtails. You have isopods. The customer setting up a bioactive enclosure needs both. Sell both as one product at one price. Reptanicals already sells a bundle of 20 Powder Orange and 20 Dairy Cow, so the format is established. There's just no local competition on it. And the margin is better than the ledger suggests. A phase pack to keep a shipment temperature stable costs about $13.50. Sell separately and you pay that twice, plus 2 boxes and twice the packing. Bundle and one of those disappears. It also fixes your inventory problem. Springtails compound whether you like it or not. Split on schedule and you'll always have more cultures than orders. Isopods are the constraint. Every bundle pushes a culture out the door attached to something people were already buying. The pitch: Springtails handle mold, isopods handle leaf litter and shed skin, and running one without the other is why a beginner's first bioactive tank goes moldy. You're not upselling, you're fixing the thing that makes people quit. One honest note: Dairy cow are protein motivated, need animal protein in the diet, and shouldn't be mixed with other morphs. 2 separate cups in one box, not one mixed cup. 22 bundles at $34, 748. Back to the animal from the opening. This is Cubaris, mostly out of Thailand. People saw a duck's face in that head marking and the name stuck. On Morph Market, rubber ducky is $60 for 6, $100 for 20, a single adult $40. Specialists go further. Blonde ducky, $129 for 6. That's $21 an animal. The gap between those two is the whole opportunity. Common stock, 40 cents to $1.50. Premium, $5 to $22. Same shelf, same bin, same square foot of garage. So why isn't everyone doing only this? Because Cubaris takes 6 to 12 months or more to mature, with broods of 6 to 20. Dairy cow does 66. An order of magnitude slower on both ends. And I want to say this plainly because the hobby talks about these as rare collectibles. The price is not rarity, it's time. You're being paid for waiting. $129 for 6 animals is compensation for a year of substrate, humidity, and patience. Which also tells you where the risk sits. Prices in a collector market move when supply catches up. A morph that's expensive because few people have bred it gets cheaper once several have. Don't build your whole plan on today's premium figure holding. Build it on the common stock and treat the premium tier as the upside. Here's the trap. Trying to speed Cubaris up with environmental manipulation backfires, crank heat and moisture, and you get a crash, not a colony. The slow part isn't a problem to solve, it's the product. Deep substrate, high humidity, stability. 7 out of 10, and the only system here I'd rate that high. Premium doesn't sell in shops. It sells on Morph Market, and the photograph does most of the selling. Your listing needs the animal on a plain pale background, not sitting on substrate where it simply vanishes. Count in the title, not buried below. Live arrival in writing. And name the morph line exactly. Blonde ducky is not rubber ducky, and a buyer paying $21 an animal knows the difference, even if you don't yet. The mistake I'd make in your position is pricing to move. Don't. This end of the market reads a low price as misidentified or unhealthy stock, and you'll get fewer inquiries at $40 than at $60. 8 sales at $70, $560. And 8 is deliberately conservative, with broods of 6 to 20 and a year to maturity. A small operation genuinely can't do more early on. If someone shows you 40 sales a month in year 1, ask to see the colony. And here's what makes species selection a legal decision rather than a business one. So the species you pick decides whether you're running a garage or applying to build an inspected facility. I'm not going to read you 14 Latin names. I'll point you at the list and you check it against whatever you're buying on the day you buy it. It's free, and it's the most important homework in this video. Last stream, and it's the one you were going to throw away. Refresh an isopod bin, and what comes out isn't waste. It's broken down substrate, colonized with microfauna, seeded with exactly the biology a bioactive enclosure needs. Remember that premix we said not to buy? $20 to $24 for 4 quarts. You produce something comparable as a byproduct. 20 bags at $14, $280. 14, not 22, because you're not a brand yet. Input cost is essentially zero, and the buyer is the person who just bought your isopods. One caution: never sell substrate from a bin that's had mites. You'll export the problem, and it comes back as a refund and a review. Sieve it, look at it properly, and if you're unsure, use it yourself instead. And this is the stream that quietly closes the loop. The isopods eat the leaf litter, the substrate is what's left, and the person buying it is setting up an enclosure that will need a cleanup crew. You're selling the byproduct back into the market that produced it. This is the part no other video on this subject covers, and it decides whether you have a business or a hobby. 2 questions, 2 different offices. Passing one doesn't pass the other. In the United States, terrestrial isopods are regulated by the USDA through APHIS as potential plant pests. A PHIS states directly that land-dwelling isopods can damage crops and ornamental plants, and that you need a permit called a PPQ 526 to legally own many species. Here's the distinction that matters more than anything else in this video. A PHIS is explicit. A PPQ 526 is required to move plant pests across state lines, whether or not the animal already lives in the destination state. But it is not needed for movement within a state. Read that as a business plan. Selling to the shop across town, no federal permit. Posting the same animals 2 states over, permit for that state before you ship. Sellers who ship nationally hold a permit for every state they ship to. Put a USDA disclosure sheet in every interstate box, and some states ban certain non-native species outright. The permits are free. The cost is time. A PHIS processes over 10,000 a year. The average is 127 days. Every application goes to the destination state for review, and nothing is expedited for anyone, which gives you the most useful sequencing in this business. The permit takes about 4 months. The isopods take about 7. Start the permit on day 1, and the clocks run in parallel. Do it in the wrong order, and you'll have sellable animals and no legal way to post them. And a standing condition: these must never be released into the environment. Not into your garden, nowhere. Disposal is freezing in a sealed bag for 3 days. Check 2. Completely different office, local planning. Even with clean species and a valid federal permit, your residential parcel may restrict operating a business from home, customers at the address, signage, deliveries, or commercial use of an accessory structure, and a garage is very often classified as exactly that. 1 phone call before you scale. Nothing here is legal advice, and I'm not a lawyer. 2 offices, 2 calls, both free. 560, 1210, 748, 560, $280, $3,358. Revenue, not profit. Out of that comes substrate, leaf litter, cuttlebone, protein supplement, cups, lids, labels, heat, boxes, phase packs at $13.50 a shipment, marketplace fees, and every hour you spent counting animals with a paintbrush. And it is month 12, not month 1. Here is the actual road. Month 1, $164. 4 cultures, 2 bins, and you file the permit that same week, because that clock takes 4 months. Months 2 and 3, Springtail split. 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16. You are compounding, not selling. Every culture you sell now is one you do not have next month. This is where the first wave quits. Months 4 to 6, you are at 30 cultures and start selling. The permit lands. It is a few hundred a month, and it proves the pipeline works. Month 7, the isopods breed. 6 weeks later, you have animals big enough to count, and streams 2 and 3 switch on together. That is the inflection point of the whole business, and it arrives in month 7, whatever you do. Months 10 to 12, colonies mature, bins get split, and if you seeded cubaris at the start, they are approaching sellable size. All 5 streams running. So when I say $3,358, I mean at the far end of that. Anyone quoting you that figure without the 11 months in front of it is selling you something. 5 things in the order they get people. 1. The ramp. People budget 4 months of patience for a 7-month animal and quit in month 5, weeks before the first harvest. Number 1 killer, not close. 2. Crashes. Springtails suppress reproduction when crowded, and cultures die if you let density run. Splitting on schedule is the job. Keep a backup culture somewhere separate. That's the difference between a bad week and starting over. 3. Mites. Warm, humid, organic substrate is what they want, and they move bin to bin. Untreated collected leaf litter is how they arrive. 4. The permit wall. People plan around posting nationally, then find interstate needs a permit per state, and the average wait is 127 days. This kills more of these than biology does, and filing early avoids it entirely. 5. Saturation. Your metro supports a finite number of orders a month, and because the easy market is intrastate, you can't simply reach past it. Biggest mistake in each: springtails, harvesting from your only culture. Common isopods, mixing dairy cow with other morphs. Cubaris, forcing them. And a 6th nobody warns you about. Isopods sell by the animal, which means somebody counts them. That's you with a paintbrush. $2,200 a month is 2,200 counts. Not difficult, not unpleasant, but it's the actual job. And people who imagine passive income quit when they meet it, which is the through line on all 6. None are technical problems. Every failure here is somebody running out of patience. Honestly, is it worth doing? If you want money this quarter, no. 7 months before your main product exists, 4 months for a permit, and a first-year ceiling set by how many people live near you. But look at what it asks. $164. No yard, no structure, no noise, nothing visible from the street. 20 minutes a day at production scale. And a premium tier that pays $20 an animal because nobody else wants to wait a year. None of this is technically hard. There's no skill gate. It's slow, and slow is the barrier, which is exactly why the premium margins survive. If you've seen the mealworm video, put them side by side honestly. Mealworms are faster to harvest and don't hit the interstate wall, which is why that model reaches a higher number. Isopods are slower and more constrained, but the premium end pays multiples. No feeder, insect will touch. Want volume, farm mealworms. Want margin and can wait, farm isopods. And if you've got the space, they share shelving, they share leaf litter, and they sell to the same people at the same expos. 5 income streams from 2 animals that share bins, substrate, food, and customers. $164 to start, 11 months to steady state, and a ceiling set by your state line rather than your shelf space. If you already keep reptiles, you know what you pay for a cleanup crew. Put that number in the comments. I want the spread across countries. And the mealworm video is next. Same buyers, same expos, same shops, different animal.